Hey everybody, we are back. We are live. It's another Miss Marvel watch party and after show. We're continuing our watch party and after show sessions as we always do every Tuesday night for all the right now the Disney Plus shows, and we're going to be doing them for more in the future. But before we get started, we got to start introducing everybody. My guy right here, introduce yourself.
Once again, it is me, the J to the E to the double F ray. Once again, I am Jeffrey Harris.
And I am COVID free for now.
Well, thank God for that.
Hopefully, I will stay that way because we got Comic Con coming up. So if I rebound with COVID, it's going to be a bad time.
Yeah, 2 weeks away from Comic Con, and it's going to be nuts. I already got my first emails last week.
And now a friend of mine who I'm going to Comic Con with told me something. Now I'm even more paranoid. He told me about monkeypox.
Oh, yeah.
I have to worry about monkeypox.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
I'm telling you.
Monkeypox. Yeah. Oh God, this looks nasty. Don't get me wrong.
I'm worried. Well, monkeypox does pass by bodily fluids, so we should be okay.
Oh God. Ugh.
It should be okay. It isn't
apparently this is something that's going around right now.
Yeah, but it's not a lot of people who are getting it. There's been like one case in Orange County.
I mean, all it takes is one, right?
Well, yeah. All it takes is one, but I'm wearing a mask at Comic Con nonetheless.
What does it take? What does it take to have an epidemic? 3?
3
is an epidemic, correct?
Yeah.
So that's one. So we only need 2 more to have an epidemic.
And I don't want to be that second or third one.
Well, that doesn't make me less scared, Mike.
Well, all you got to do is just keep watch, and chances, well, you go into the conventions sometimes. I usually stick in the hotel the whole day doing interviews.
I mean, we were out and about in Las Vegas for CinemaCon, and I was doing that stuff in the second half of 2021 and stayed COVID-free through all of that. It wasn't until like middle of June, and I wasn't really doing much of anything when I got COVID. I just got it.
Yeah. Well, same here.
Oh, great. All right. So we are back
when we get to San Diego.
All right. So MUSE TV watch party. So we are on episode 5 of Miss Marvel tonight. Yep.
And today we are on Twitch as well as YouTube. So
all right,
that goes.
So to those of you watching on Twitch, welcome. This is the MUSE TV watch party. We watch and talk about new TV show episodes. So this week we're doing Miss Marvel. We've been doing Miss Marvel for a couple weeks now after we finished Kenobi. So now we're on episode 5 of Miss Marvel. So why don't you introduce the MUSE TV watch party and explain to our viewers on YouTube, Twitch, how we like to do things, Mike?
So here's how everything goes and the way we normally do things here at MUSE TV. So right now we're going to be talking for an hour about Miss Marvel. We're going to talk about other comic book related and movie types of topics that are going on. It's general topics right now as we get closer to the 11:50 start of Miss Marvel in the episode 5 of the show. And what we do when we get to the actual show time. Okay, when the show's about to start, we will turn off our audio and turn off our video. We will all watch the episode together, and then we will return right now the shows have been about 49-50 minutes long. We'll return back and we'll discuss for about a half hour or 45 minutes about the show, what we liked, what we didn't like, and we'll end the show with a rating of what we thought about this episode. So that's pretty much the MUSE TV watch party. Jeffrey.
All right. So
did you see
feel a little bit of
emotion about Black Panther this weekend?
What's going on with Black Panther?
So supposedly a bunch of artwork was already released of somebody who I know very well, who I've interviewed last year, and I wasn't able to talk about what he was playing in Black Panther, but now I think everybody knows. They showed the first image. There's been images leaked. I don't know how real they are. Of Tenoch Huerta as Neymar. Have you seen those?
I have seen one piece of artwork.
Yeah.
Is and I believe it's purported to be leaked artwork.
Yeah, it is leaked.
Can we talk about this here?
I don't know, but the artwork looked amazing.
I'm undecided on what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
To me, context is important, and I need context of what I saw. And I have some thoughts, but I don't want to voice those thoughts because I don't want to be like one of those moody fanboys.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to. What I saw, I kind of want to sit on this for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I do have some thoughts, but I don't want to. I think we have too much negativity out there, and I don't want to contribute to it.
Okay. Well, the one thing that definitely from the whatever I've seen already come out, and what the storyline in and some of the characters, even though it was, I don't know if it was the real script or anything like that. From what I ran lines with somebody for this project, the names that were on the script were right on point. And that's what leads me to believe that maybe some of it is true and some of it isn't. Because knowing Marvel, they don't give you exactly the character names. As you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of weird because to me
it sounds like you know exactly what's going on here.
I know some of what's going on. And let's say when I interviewed Tenoch Huerta last year, you could tell he was in shape and he was getting in shape.
Okay.
He lost a lot of weight. He was getting cut. We didn't talk about it. We kind of circled around it. And you could see the interview on MUSE TV after the show. So, but it looked kind of, it didn't shock me. After air, we kind of said, and he kind of like gave a little wink and a nod type of thing, but that's only between us and you guys now, but we're not sure. We're still not sure because we haven't seen the trailer.
It's still not really confirmed until because this is still a leak.
Yeah.
And the actor's not, and the actor can't say one way or the other.
Yeah. Until we see him on screen and that's the character name, then we know it's official, or Marvel puts out a press release.
Right. Because it's really not official yet.
Yeah. And it's the thing with the script that I was running lines with somebody who went for a part. I read lines with her. And some of the names that I saw and some of these posts that are going around were spot on, but I know Marvel always gives fake scripts without exact character names. So that's why I say, like, take it with a grain of salt, take it with what it is, but it's kind of interesting how some of it is down the line.
This is kind of like why I don't like leak culture, though, because how much of it is reliable info or info that's been put out there to deliberately confuse or mislead people?
I agree. Like, I didn't see anything until I was just posting some videos, and that's how it popped up, and that's where I found out what was going on.
Okay, basically Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, we know Will Poulter is Adam Warlock because James Gunn has tweeted as such, like confirming this. We know he's
also in the pictures with James Gunn, so there we go.
Right. That's basically official. An example of an official, like, we know he's in the movie and we know he's playing Adam Warlock because it was reported he's playing Adam Warlock, and Gunn responded to that tweet like basically saying so. So that's official. There were reports of this what was this actor's name again?
Tenoch Huerta.
Okay. Tenoch Huerta. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
All right, I don't want to mispronounce it.
Mhm.
So there were early reports of him playing Namor, I think a while back. I think as far back
Yeah,
as last year, I want to say,
it was
right?
like a year and a half, 2 years ago.
So if this actor is playing Namor, it would kind of line up. I'll say
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
It would line up with
Mhm.
earlier reports because I believe earlier reports did suggest he was portraying Namor.
Yeah.
Namor is he's a longtime Marvel mainstay. He like goes back to the earliest days of Marvel Comics.
Mhm.
Like he goes back to the 1930s.
Yeah.
He's been
And
around.
that was probably one of, like, back in the old 1960 Marvel cartoons that they would
Right.
show in the 80s, like Spider-Man, Namor, Captain America, and the Hulk were the four cartoons that I
Right.
remember because I used to like that animation, and I mean he'd been
Like
around for a while.
like a lot of the biggest characters we know now
Mhm.
of the Marvel universe were born in the 60s.
Yeah.
In that kind of like not really quite a golden age, but like that Marvel Renaissance era. And
Mhm.
then some of these characters, like their earliest like printed comics, I think, like when was it called? Timely Comics back in the 40s.
I think in the 40s,
Let's
30s,
see.
or late 30s or 40s, if I remember correctly.
Let's see. Like the earliest like Marvel comics, I think were published under the Timely. Okay, so it was Timely Comics in like 1939.
Yeah.
And then I think Timely Comics was basically rebranded as Marvel Comics later on.
Yeah.
So basically Namor goes back to like this golden age of superhero comics
Mhm.
back in the 30s, which
Yeah.
that I mean like that's like the decade of when Superman, Batman, all
Wonder Woman.
these all the characters, like the most iconic characters in media, like all were created in like the 30s,
Yeah.
basically. Batman okay, so Namor was 1939 and so was Batman.
Mhm.
Let's see, Superman. When was Superman's first appearance? Let's do some fun little comic history. So Superman was not 1938,
Yeah.
and Captain America. I want to say okay, 1941. So there was like this 3-year stretch where like all these iconic characters that are still like popular today, like this is when they were like created by like these amazing artists and creators.
Yeah.
And Namor was among them. So this is a very important character, a very historic character with an illustrious history. So that we're finally getting a Namor in a movie and possibly to usher in like future things. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big
It is.
deal that Namor is finally happening
Mhm.
in something from Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
I know his rights have been passed around for a
Yeah.
while,
Mhm.
but it's not confirmed, but it's finally starting to take shape. It seems.
Yeah, because Universal Pictures had the rights to Neymar before Marvel got
Right.
them. So
Yeah, because here's the thing, folks. Before, like Marvel Studios beforehand, what they did was like they sublicensed all their character groups and rights out to other studios in the 90s and the aughts, and that kind so all the rights were kind of like spread out among different studios. So then in like 2006, Marvel Studios set up like a production deal like where they would self-produce and independently produce their own movies, uh with some big studio distribution. And that's sort of how the Marvel Cinematic Universe started. And even at the time, characters were still spread out at different studios. At the time, X-Men and Fantastic Four were still at Fox. Daredevil was still at Fox. Ghost Rider was at Sony. Spider-Man at Sony, where it still is today.
Mhm.
Of course, and then Hulk. Technically, Hulk is still at Universal, and so that's changed considerably because Marvel got back the rights to Ghost Rider, even though those films bombed at Sony, or the last one bombed. Uh, the Daredevil rights eventually reverted to Marvel, and then what happened? Oh, they bought Disney bought 20th Century Fox, so all of the Fantastic Four and X-Men character rights that were over there are now back with Marvel Entertainment, Marvel Studios. So, but I think there are some character rights that are still spread out, because of Hulk with Universal, which is a whole big complicated fiasco. And then I think the Spider-Man and Spider-Man family of characters are still at Sony. I don't know what else is still divided. Like, what does Marvel? Do we know what Marvel does not have at this point?
Spider-Man. So they have a.
I said Spider-Man.
Oh, you said Spider-Man.
Yes,
And all the,
Spider-Man family is at Sony.
yeah, that's all Sony.
Which is unfortunate.
I think that's everything. I don't think they have. I think they have everything pretty much except for Hulk. Okay, I think the Hulk thing.
Because I think Namor was a thing for a while, but they got the Namor right. Okay.
Yeah, because with Hulk, I think they can't make a Hulk movie.
But they
But
can't use. They can use the Hulk.
Yeah.
They can't make a Hulk, like a Hulk solo film.
Yeah.
You can make movies with Hulk, but not like Hulk as its own movie without Universal's like involvement or say so. Namor. Right. Okay, so apparently they have Namor.
Yeah.
So I think the only outliers right now are the Spider-Man family and Hulk.
Yeah.
I think those are the only outliers.
Yeah.
Now, Marvel does make those Spider-Man films with Sony.
Mm-hmm. Now,
but then we have those spin-off films, and that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Or are you happy about Bad Bunny getting his movie?
I'm happy to see it. I just hope there's like a love-hate
El Muerto.
Yeah. I like the fact that we're finally seeing more representation, especially for Latinos in superhero films.
Okay.
Because if you know the history of Latino superheroes, they're usually luchadores.
Yeah.
And luchador were our superheroes.
Right.
But like, it's good to see it more on screen. But I do have that if factor with Sony. Because if you get something like, I didn't like Morbius. Yeah, I didn't like Morbius. Venom was great. I enjoyed Venom.
Okay.
But Morbius, I just can't.
What about Let There Be Carnage?
It was okay. It was decent, but at least I still had a good time, and I don't feel like I lost money to go see
Madam Web.
I question that.
Kraven the Hunter.
Kraven could be good, but from what I'm hearing, it may go off of the comic books and do its own thing. So,
Aunt May the movie.
That one I hope they never make. Spider-Ham, I will take over Aunt May.
Spider-Ham.
Mm-hmm.
But because the Spider-Verse films are good.
Oh yeah, the Spider-Verse films were good, and the one that's coming up looks even just as good. But the live action stuff is what I'm kind of like.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, so moving to Miss Marvel, I think last week was at least a little more exciting, a little more action-packed, I think.
I agree.
Do you think this show, though, does it have a villain problem?
I think it does. But doesn't most of the Marvel shows have a villain problem?
I think Agatha Harkness was a good villain.
Yeah.
On WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could. I think Arthur Harrow was boring and dull as hell in Moon Knight.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I think we didn't really.
Hawkeye was badly executed.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Because like it's Kingpin, it's Wilson Fisk, but like we didn't even see him until the very end, and then we only got like one fight with him.
Yeah, and to me, it felt like a waste of Vincent D'Onofrio's talent.
Yeah,
that's what I felt.
To have him as the main villain and just put it all in one episode, and just it wasn't good planning to me. What else have they done?
Loki.
So,
which was kind of an odd. Was there really a villain in Loki?
I guess it was He Who Remains, but we didn't even see him until the very end either.
Yeah.
So
how in the world can
it wasn't like, but I mean, Loki was kind of like
his own villain.
Well, yeah, and then I guess the show was like at least compelling enough where it wasn't like about the villain kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the Flag Smashers and Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Excuse me, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Now Captain America. The Flag Smashers were weak. And then the way and the plot twists and everything. I wasn't happy with. Like it started off okay, but the way they did it with the broker and who the broker was and the flag, it was
U.S. agent who was the new Captain America.
But he wasn't even a villain, really. He was just he was just a jerk. He was just a jerk who was like who wasn't fit to be Captain America kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the last episode, he helps them out. He's trying to help people, so he's like wayward and misguided, but he's not a bad guy. So,
What do you think with all these Marvel series so far? Since we're now on episode 5, we have one more episode left of Captain Marvel. Overall, Miss Marvel, sorry. With Miss Marvel, do you think they need to start rethinking the shows a little bit? Putting more stakes, please, and maybe a couple more episodes to really pull some meat into this.
You see, because in some scenes, I think the show has its head on straight, and I think Iman Vellani, I think she's fantastic as Kamala, but I do think that at times I think this show is padded.
Yeah.
Like they do, I feel they do a little too much with her family sometimes, which is fine because, like, her family, her family they're good people. She has a loving relationship with her family, but did we need to see so much about her brother's wedding and kind of thing? And like, do we need to see all those scenes like with her mother and grandmother without Kamala kind of thing?
Yeah.
Just because, I got that sense with the relationship already, and I think Hawkeye meandered a lot. But like the general gist of it is like Hawkeye meeting this young girl, training her, letting go of the whole Ronin thing. So, and then Moon Knight was a total misfire for me. I mean, I apologize to the people who liked and enjoyed Moon Knight. Everything they did about Moon Knight to me was basically wrong, other than maybe some of how they did Khonshu and some of the Mark Spector and some of the DID stuff. I don't know. I don't know. Like I think some of it is not as well thought out as it should. I'll say that.
And that's where, like, there's each show had its own problems, I've noticed.
Yes.
Luckily for this one, the writing doesn't seem to be a problem. I think the way the progression of the story makes sense to me,
Okay.
but I think there's no stakes. I have, or at least we haven't seen them yet.
Well. Basically, uh, um, oh God, I'm already blanking out. Who is the villain's name?
I
The
forgot.
clandestine. They're the
Yeah,
clandestine. What is that mother's name?
Muniba. Oh no, that's
No,
the mother.
no.
Looking through Najma.
Najma.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm not like they haven't done enough with Najma. I don't think. Like they've done a lot with like the damage control people.
Mhm.
Um, if they had like some interesting side villains, like I don't know, like here's the thing: Marvel has a really incredible rogues gallery,
Mhm.
and I think they've been a little underserved, not like exploiting the rogues gallery and trying to get them out there and get some cool fights with the heroes. You
Yeah.
know, like do you know the Wrecking Crew?
No.
Like the Wrecking Crew would be perfect for one of these shows
Mhm.
to get the heroes to mix it up with like a crew of like big tough supervillains with cool powers and abilities that can like cause some mayhem kind of thing.
Yeah.
Instead, like we're getting like the tracksuit mafia with
Mhm.
and like they're freaking goofballs, you know?
Yeah.
And then the clandestine are just they're just bland and uninteresting. Um that said, like the clandestine want Kamala's bangle, I think, and I think the stakes are if they use the bangle to return to their homeland, it could like destroy our dimension. Is what I think that's what they set up in the last episode.
Yeah.
But they waited until the fourth episode to do that, so that's over the halfway. That's over the halfway mark, you
Mhm.
know. So they
Yeah.
took up, and now they only have 2 episodes left. And we know going into this episode, we know that somehow Kamala has been transported back to the partition. And I believe, as I predicted last week, my prediction was Kamala would meet her young grandmother and would use her powers to help her grandmother find um, her great grandfather,
Mhm.
Kamala's great grandfather. And that's so that story she heard from her family, that's that family, that like old family fairy tale, she's going to basically cause it, like a causal loop kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what I think we can reasonably expect that this week. But I feel like Najma and the clandestine just haven't proven to be very menacing or sinister villains.
Mhm.
And it's been in it not always, but it has been a problem for Marvel in the past. Not always, but in many instances.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I just kind of sometimes wonder, like, where it's like I get that they're trying to make it towards
I
age
think
group,
I think
but
I think I think they're I think they're just too scared of doing like a crazy scene chewing comic book villainy kind of thing. They don't
mhm.
want to be a campy. They don't want to. I think what they're worried about is going to like Schumacher Batman because that was so soundly rejected.
Yeah.
So I think they don't want villains to come off that way because
Mhm.
like the movies are like their movies and shows already kind of like have this kind of like humorous angle a
Mhm.
lot of the time. So I don't even know if this is true, but I feel like they want to avoid going in the direction of making it too campy, too comic booky sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you saw Thor: Love and Thunder, right?
I did see Thor Love and Thunder, and you can check out my review right now at 411mania.com
Yeah.
slash movies, my official exclusive spoiler-free review of Thor Love and Thunder. Check it
Mhm.
out, folks.
So since review embargo is already lifted,
Yeah.
everything's out. With non spoilers, do you feel like it's can't like has that same tone like the shows with this one, or is it sticks to the movie
It
format?
is it's very much that same spirit of Thor Ragnarok. So if you've seen Thor Ragnarok, it's a similar style,
So do you?
tonally and stylistically.
So if you think that they brought that to the shows, it would help with certain shows if it fit.
It depends on the character.
Yeah.
I think Moon Knight was just uneven, and they couldn't. And then they did this, and then they did all this Egyptian mythology stuff, which, just isn't really Moon Knight to me, because they didn't want, because as Jeremy Slater said, they didn't want to feel like a ripoff of Batman, which I find silly.
Yeah.
I think if anything, they should have leaned into the Batman stuff more and play around with that and have fun with it. Because yes, there are. No, he is not Marvel's Batman, but yes, there are similarities. I say play around with it. Have fun with it. You have a character that has many facets, similar to Batman. Do something with it. Do something that you can't do with Batman and DC.
Yeah, and I agree with you with that. And like with going back to Miss Marvel, like I like the story, I like the way the arc is, but it just needs to be. I hate that the last couple shows seem to be like episode 5 and 6 pretty much still leaves you with some questions, and I'm hoping this show does not leave me with questions.
Here's what I would have happen. Like I would have a 2-parter where like a hero like Kamala has to deal with the Wrecking Crew. Like the Wrecking Crew takes like a whole building hostage, and somehow like Kamala is like, let's say like Kamala and her school are at a field trip, and like the Wrecking Crew shows up and takes over. So they lock down the building, and it's the Wrecking Crew, and then Kamala so she has to like protect her friends, get her costume, and fight the Wrecking Crew off. You know the Wrecking Crew, right?
Yeah.
Here, let me find a picture of them, and we can show it.
But what's funny to me, and this is just me,
like we're not getting like these cool villains and cool villain fights in these shows. That's a problem. That's a big problem to me.
You know what's funny to me? Just an observation.
Okay.
So last week they had the Disney Wish launch, right?
Right.
We've seen Kamala Khan in her full costume first on the Disney Wish from people leaking on what that Avengers little dinner theater show is. We saw her full costume first off of whatever's going on in that ship before we even saw it on the show. Her wearing the full costume.
Was this an official release or was it a leak?
This was an official release because these were people who were invited to go on the boat, to take a trip on the boat for its christening.
Well, maybe they wanted the reveal to be a surprise.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so
I don't know, but they did reference. We did see people have been posting video from the walls, and they do a lot of really cool things.
We saw like a prototype of her final costume last week, though.
Yeah, prototype, but they showed it on the boat before.
Okay, here I sent you. So
yeah,
I want to see the like. I feel like we're not getting like these cool like Marvel rogues who I think if we had these characters and had more interesting battles, it would be uplifting to the heroes by giving them more interesting, heavies to play off of.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, because the clandestine and the people in Miss Marvel just aren't doing it,
Yeah, I agree.
Like, even now, going back to Captain Marvel, they wouldn't even show the Supreme Intelligence. We never got, like, here. Like, my hope was at the end of Captain Marvel, we would have seen the real Supreme Intelligence, but they just never did that.
Yeah.
And I can think of a couple reasons, but here's the photo of Supreme Intelligence. Like, I thought, to me, the perfect ending to Captain Marvel would have been Jude Law's character, the Yang Rong character, forced to go back to Hala, and he's like, the Supreme Intelligence wants to see you, and he's like, what? And then it would have been like this, like, what the hell did you do?
Yeah,
that kind of thing. And it could, and I'm like, why could we not have seen that? And like, why is the Supreme Intelligence just? It's like, it just takes the form of Annette Bening or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And that kind of disappointed me.
Yeah.
Like, yes, in Carol's mind, it taking a familiar form, yes, that makes sense to mess with her head. But why could we not, like, the Supreme Intelligence is a great character and could be a great villain for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'd just like take that extra step, you know?
Right. Well, I agree with you. And that's the one thing, just to make people know, like, we're not bashing Disney and what they're doing or anything like that, but
I'm trying to be constructive here.
Constructive in what we're seeing and what we pay.
I don't hate the show. It's just that I would like, I think a little more can be done here. And I would just like to see some better, I would like to have some more fun with the villains kind of thing.
And I agree with you. Like,
you see, to me at this point in the MCU, like, to me, cities should be like crawling with villains like these. Because now that like that alien technology is out there, Tony Stark technology and all this technology, people with powers, enhanced kind of thing. Now that all that's out there, we should be having characters, or even just rogue Asgardians,
right?
Because of New Asgard, we should be having like these kind of characters coming out of the woodwork, kind of thing. And I would just, to me, they're trying to me, it's sometimes they're trying to be too grounded, kind of thing. They're still trying to be too grounded, but if like magic and magicians exist, we should have some of these crazier, cooler characters, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And supposedly Kevin Feige has already said that soon enough we're going to find out more and how everything pieces together.
With what?
Yet with this whole Phase 4, Phase 5 thing.
I would assume they're going to be doing something with Kang.
Yeah.
Like, if Kang is in fact going to be in the third Ant-Man, I assume something has to happen there. And I assume they have, because Kang is a big time villain.
Yeah.
So I assume something's going to have to happen with Kang at some point. And maybe it's going to be the Marvels. Maybe it's going to be Quantum Mania. But hopefully it's all going to start paying off, because it doesn't, it hasn't really quite come into play yet.
Yeah. And now we are 12 minutes away until we usually get our normal showtime for Miss Marvel episode 5. So we will go run over how we do the watch parties again at 11:45. We'll let everybody know how this works again, and then we will get ready for the show. So just a little side note there. And also, too, we're running the ticker down at the bottom. Comic-Con is coming up in 2 weeks. We're going to be there. We just wanted to make sure that we put it out there and ask for such we could be able to get some help to be able to pay, because Comic-Con isn't cheap. I wish it was, but it isn't. And please support us. We want to go live while we're at Comic-Con, so please support us and help support the channel on YouTube and Amazon Twitch. I think it's called Amazon.
Aren't we kind of expecting there to be some sort of tag scene or something where Kamala will meet Carol?
There has to be.
Not this week, but next week.
No, next week, yeah, there has to be. Because if it doesn't, it makes no sense of why they have the Marvels.
I feel like it's the thing that's like we know is going to happen, kind of like with Qui-Gon and Kenobi. Like, they were hinting at that, they were telegraphing that so much. There was no way they were not going to do that.
Oh, and here's another thing too. On the ship, on that video, Miss Marvel sees Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers,
On what ship?
on that Disney Wish that and on the
Wait, that happened?
Yep, it's in the video footage. If you get a chance after the show, take a look. Disney Wish, Avengers. I believe it's a dinner.
Disney, why would you just show this to a bunch of randos? Wait, what did they have? They had a cruise ship or something?
Yeah, it's a cruise ship, and they had the christening.
Did they not say people turn off your phones or
I guess not, because a lot of video footage came out from not only the Star Wars bar that's on the ship, but also the Avengers restaurant that's in there, or dinner theater, whatever it's called.
What?
They showed Scott Lang. They showed Cope Van Dyne. They showed Kamala. They showed Anthony Mackie as Captain.
Hold on a second. I think I found it. I just want to look at it. So just give me a minute.
Yeah. Let's give Jeffrey a minute to take a look, catch up on what we're talking about. So it kind of, I don't know. But it was interesting, to say the least, and it definitely did. Ant-Man, Scott Lang did mention about the Thanos and why couldn't Ant-Man just have killed him, and you know how everybody was talking about how he could have killed him, and just ended it all. But yeah.
Okay, Mike, this looks like a promotional video for the cruise.
It looks like a promotional video, but it's not.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. That is part of the dinner experience at the Avenger.
But it looks like they made this specifically for the thing.
Yeah, it was made.
It doesn't look like this would be a scene in a TV series.
No, it was made specifically for the boat. Is it canon? Is it part of whatever?
It's not. This is not canon. This is just a. It's a puff piece, man.
Yeah.
It's like when you go on a Disney ride and you see some stuff.
But you know how now, like with the Galaxy's Edge, that's canon.
Yeah, but that's like stories. Oh. This is not story-driven stuff. This is like for guests to give them like, oh, like here's the characters in costume kind of thing.
But even when, like, if it would have been after the show, fine, it makes sense. But this is
we're not going to see this in Ms. Marvel.
No.
Because they're clearly on the ship. They filmed this for the cruise ship. This is not meant to be viewed on Disney Plus.
No. And it also has Ultron.
You totally sandbag me here, Mike. Come on here.
I'm not sandbagging you. I'm just saying, like, this is
not how the first meeting. This is not how the first meeting is going to go between Carol and Kamala.
It better not be.
No.
But if we don't see no meeting at all,
we're gonna see it. We have to. Like that's the Qui-Gon Jinn thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, but to me this isn't I feel like we've seen concept art of Kamala's final costume before. So to me, this isn't that like earth shatter. What we're seeing here, like
earth shattering, but
yes, Disney should have been a bit more strict about this, considering how strict they are with us at conventions and D23 and the like. Exactly. Yes, they should have been more strict at this event. Yes. But this isn't that it's not, to me, this isn't that spoilerific.
Well, it's like Star Wars Celebration. Leaks, like the things that they showed.
Yeah, but those were like trailers made just for that audience.
Yeah, and they're now coming out.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're starting to come out. I found
Are they leaking or are they actually released?
They are leaking. They're not actually released, but it's the same footage we saw. Well, I saw.
They had lots of security there. How did they get past all the security and everything?
I don't get. You know what? That's the thing. I really don't get it.
Did they hid it? Did they have hidden cameras or some junk?
That's what I would like to know. Or if they're wearing Ray-Ban cameras and
do they have the Tom Cruise Mission Impossible 1996 glasses?
Let's be honest here.
Those were pretty cool back in
They did not
1996.
look like Tom Cruise. No, none of them look like they're friggin' Mission Impossible Tom Cruise type of ready.
Yeah, so how are they getting this footage?
I really don't know, but it's some of the footage that I saw was exactly the same.
Well,
footage.
I don't do that, and I don't leak. So
Neither do I, but we get penalized for it.
full disclosure.
Yeah, same here. We don't leak anything, and yet we still get sometimes penalized. So, and they get rewarded. So let's see what happens in the future. But it's 11:45. Time to run down how we run the watch parties again.
Okay, here we go.
Pretty much right now we're just making open discussion about Miss Marvel and all the comic book stuff. Since it's related to the show. At 11:50, Disney Plus usually makes the new episode live. So what we do is that as soon as the episode is live on Disney Plus, we will turn off our microphones, turn off our cameras, and we'll all watch the show together. Once the show is over, which is usually about 45 to 50 minutes, we will return to the live stream and we'll discuss what we liked about the show, what we didn't like about the show. Put your comments in so that you could be a part of it and join us. We're missing our normal people who are usually here, like Marvin and Ultron and everybody else. I know it's been probably a tough week and everybody's on vacation, but hey, if you're new to this channel, don't be afraid. Say what you think. Put in your 2 cents within reason. And be a part of the show. We really appreciate you just watching and being a part of here, but also we love to hear your comments and your thoughts as well when we return after watching the show. So that's where we're talking. So continue on, Jeffrey, while I look to see if it's where we're at. Jeffrey?
I liked Thor: Love and Thunder, by the way.
You did? I watched it. I'm going to see it tomorrow.
Is it my favorite Marvel movie? No. But I did like it. I think Natalie Portman is great in it. I think she's great. Chris Hemsworth is great. I like that we got a return to that relationship and we find out why it went sour, why they kind of broke up, what kept them apart. Like, those are the best aspects of the film. I do feel like there was some material that was maybe left on the cutting room floor that could have maybe really sold Gore as a very menacing, threatening villain. Gore is a serious, no nonsense villain, but I was kind of underwhelmed with his look. His look compared to his comics character, his look is just very uninspired to me. So I was a little disappointed with that.
Yeah, I don't get to see it till tomorrow night because I didn't get a screening to go see.
I would have, if I knew that, I would have invited you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't. We didn't get nothing.
I'll check with you next time.
Yeah, definitely. Because sometimes we get them and sometimes we don't. Because we don't go directly through Disney because we're not a TikTok. Right. We don't do the tickety talk because everyone is a 47-year-old man.
Check out my review right now, and hopefully by the time it's done, it'll soon be on. Hopefully, it'll be on Rotten Tomatoes in the next day or so.
Yeah. So hopefully it will be, Cedric, because you give a good view of an impartial view of and review.
Well, I mean, it's just my own opinion. I'm not, my opinion is not better than anyone else's. I don't think. And
movies are always subjective.
Yeah, they're subjective.
One person's gonna like it, and another person isn't.
I'm not here to force my opinion on anyone else. Like, enjoy, not enjoy at your leisure.
Yeah, like now, Lightyear. But
now look, so did I, and I liked Lightyear as well. Now, Thor: Love and Thunder, Rotten Tomatoes score right now is 71%. Is that alarming?
No, I don't think so.
Do you think people are overreacting?
I think so.
What do you make of a 71% score?
I think it's cautious, but to be honest, like, people, if you take a review seriously and you don't go out and see the film yourself, it's kind of like, dude, you can't go with what everybody thinks or what everybody says.
Okay, sure.
You got to build your own opinion and your own thoughts and feelings about the film.
Fair enough.
Not everybody's going to like what you like. And like the same thing. Like me and you don't always like the same films, and we do like certain films, but we respect the fact that we have a difference of opinion, and we
Right.
talk about it.
Sure.
And I think that's what it needs. It needs the conversation.
All right, so let's check it out now.
Yep, definitely will.
All right, here we go. Episode
Yep.
5, 41 minutes. So we'll see you in a little bit, folks.
We'll see you back when the show is completed for Miss Marvel. See you in a bit.
Okay, so we are back. Jeffrey here. So just waiting on Mike. Finish up the episode so we can get to the after party for Miss Marvel episode 5. It's just chapter 5. I didn't see a title there. So we are just waiting on Mike and we will get to it very soon. Some interesting, very interesting, I guess, this week. So I have a lot to discuss. So just so everyone knows, we will be doing, deep episode discussion. So if you didn't watch the episode yet and you don't want to get spoiled, just be forewarned. We are going to be talking about what happened throughout the episode. I mean, this is an episode discussion, spoiler discussion. So just know ahead of time that is going to be a thing we're going to be talking about tonight. We are going to dissect, go over, and discuss tonight's Miss Marvel episode and everything that happened. So that is the point of the podcast. Twitchcast? Live stream? Whatever you want to call it. That's what's going on tonight, so just be aware. Wow. So Najma, poor Najma. Mike.
Is she really gone, or is it just?
I mean, I don't know how more gone she could be. She's
exactly. But hey, I'm just saying, you never know.
After they built her up, okay, I was thinking this whole time Najma is the villain. Now it's Cameron, I guess. Cameron?
I don't know. I'm kind of, when it comes to who's the villain, I'm kind of lost now.
Now I'm very lost. Now I'm very lost because I mean, Najma killed her great grandmother.
Yeah,
like in cold blood. You know. So
and that would automatically show me that she's the villain.
And Cameron's Cameron's never been a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the damage control. I don't know what's going on with this show right now.
Me neither. And we got one episode left.
Is he a villain in the comics even?
I do not know. Let's see if there's some reference at all.
I think he does do some villain kind. So I guess he's the villain now.
Is that his name?
Does he have
Cameron Stewart? Oh no,
he's just Cameron.
He's just Cameron.
Kamran. So he was in the Miss Marvel comics, so I guess he's the final villain now, and I guess he's gonna blame Kamala for Najma's death, and that's gonna. But then damage, how can they wrap this all up in one episode? Unless it's
isn't this what? Don't we say this a lot during a Disney Plus Marvel series?
I feel like it was an issue with Hawkeye. It was definitely an issue. And then Moon Knight was just a dumpster fire to me. So Hawkeye, Moon Knight, and now... See, the thing is, Miss Marvel wasn't as big of a dumpster fire as Moon Knight to me, just because, I didn't really go into this show with any expectations.
Yeah.
But, we had... Half this episode was a flashback. Then she returned... And my prediction was right, was it not?
Yeah,
she was going to be the one to save the grandmother and get her to her father. So she did that, and then they open the veil to their homeland dimension, and then they get disintegrated, they get dusted, they get skeletonized. So now Najma's dead. Somehow this gave Cameron superpowers, but damage control is still going after Cameron. I guess damage control wants Kamala too.
Yeah.
Because of what happened at Avenger Con, but I have a headache. I mean, Cameron is the final villain. I'm just not invested in Cameron.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
'Cause
Cameron
he's
hasn't
not.
really been around this whole show.
He's been there, but he hasn't even really done it. Like, what has Cameron done? What has Cameron done? Like, Najma actually killed Kamala's grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
and presumably has done some other bad things over the years, maybe as well. But
Mm.
what is what is Cameron like? Cameron was maybe too loyal to his mother, and I guess that loyalty is going to make him a bad guy because he's going to blame Kamala for it. I guess maybe.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. None of it makes
Or,
sense.
or has damage control been the main? But damage control has not been that present throughout the show.
Exactly.
The damage control dudes. So I'm like,
And I'm trying to find some type of reference
okay. So
from
I'm
this
just gonna
Marvel
say it
universe.
right here. The Disney Plus shows have a villain problem. They do.
They do. We've already established that in this
Largely,
episode
they
more.
do. But I
Yeah.
think we can say this show does. Like the Kamala stuff is good.
Mhm.
The family stuff is good, but like the action adventure the superhero stuff is not there in this show.
Yeah.
And they're gonna just stuff it all at the end and expect that to be enough. It's not enough, you know. I need more than what they're doing. Like to me, this show has been a slow drip, a
Yeah.
very slow drip, you know.
Mhm. And don't get me wrong, like I love the story about the family, learning about the family. What happened with this episode was really good.
Like, what if
But
they
I wish,
made like a Spider-Man? If this was a Spider-Man show, and like we didn't see him like become Spider-Man until episode 6, like that would be like really annoying.
yeah, it would be, especially with a character that's well known. I mean, Kamala Khan and Miss Marvel is known, but I don't think she's as known as many would like to
Like, are
think.
we gonna have to like in She-Hulk? Are we gonna have to actually wait like for like 5.5 episodes for someone to finally say She-Hulk or something?
Oh, I really hope not.
I mean,
I'm really hoping
or
that
is
that's not
call
the case.
or I don't know.
But like all these Marvel series, they've all been pretty much the same when it comes down to the villain. And it comes down to them becoming who they are. It just kind of
At least like Falcon and Winter Soldier, at least they started out like him and what's his name? Batroc.
mm-hmm.
Like so at least like they
And they
gave
gave some reference.
they gave us like a mini boss. Like at least they started with a mini boss.
Mm-hmm.
But then the rest of Falcon and Winter Soldier was like a letdown.
Yeah.
Um
And here's the thing: when I'm
yeah.
searching Cameron and Miss Marvel, there is a Cameron Hodge, but I don't see anything else related to it. But also, too,
Didn't
her
stuff
powers,
Agatha
her
and,
powers have changed.
and they didn't stuff Agatha until the final episode from WandaVision either. Like
Yeah.
they gave us a couple episodes of Agatha
Mhm.
villainy kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah. I really do think that's their biggest problem in a lot of the shows, and I agree with you on that. The villain problem is a big deal, and if this continues, this is going to be a big issue.
Like in the first season of Daredevil,
Mm-hmm.
like he has that first confrontation with Kingpin.
Yeah.
Where they meet face to face and Kingpin like hands him his ass.
Yeah.
And Kingpin like but they had more than one confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
Like they kept them apart for a little bit. They confront each other and then they confront each other again, you know?
Yeah.
And then and Kingpin was and they didn't show Kingpin right off the bat. They did build up his first appearance, but they did get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And Kingpin was present throughout the series, and he had multiple encounters with Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
And Daredevil, the first season, I think, is still one of Marvel's like best seasons of TV ever.
Yeah. To me, it seems like where with Daredevil, you had how many episodes? Like 20 something episodes in that
13
season?
in the
13 episodes. So 13 episodes. It feels to me like they're cramming into 6 and it's not working. Because they got to cut out things.
But like 6 is more than your average movie, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like in a movie you get maybe 2.5 hours if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like we're not making the best use of everything here.
No, it's not the
Even
best
in, even
time
in
in
6
the story.
episodes.
Yeah.
Like
If
to
anybody
have,
has any thoughts
I
in the
would have,
comments, please comment.
and I would have thrown in like a well-known Marvel villain as like a mini boss here, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We need these like Wrecking Crew level, like, you know, cool villains. Maybe even some one-off villains, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, but we need some better, cooler villains to have, you know, to banter with the heroes, to have fun with them, but ultimately get beat, you know. That's missing here, kind of thing. Like even in Deadpool 2, they brought in Juggernaut, you know.
Mm-hmm. And it's like there needs to be some, like, the reason why she becomes who she is type of storyteller, not just, hey, I got a bracelet, I found the bracelet, it had some family history, and nothing happens to me throughout this whole time, so I don't learn from anything that are any mistakes that I do, and all of a sudden I have to fight somebody and I don't even know how my powers really work.
So you think Kamala hasn't failed enough, basically?
I think she hasn't failed at all. Other than
she kind of messed up her brother's wedding.
Well, that's not really a failure, though.
Okay.
I mean, as a
she needs to make more. She needs to make more mistakes, and she needs to like learn from them. Is what you're saying?
It's in her journey. That's where I have a problem. It's within her journey. Like, I love the family aspect and I like the family story.
She's too passive. Is what?
Yeah.
She's too passive.
Yeah. Like with this episode, I like the episode. Don't get me wrong. I like the episode. But here's the thing, what I would have done differently.
Okay.
This whole backstory part about our family, I would have put in the first episode, cut it off to modern day, then return to it in episode 4 or 5, and then show what the outcome was, what happened. And I think it would have changed the series completely in my idea, but also two, I think besides the villain problem, it's just the way
maybe we could have started with the 10 rings and the discovery of the bangle, maybe just to add a bit more intrigue. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but to me, like Najma and the clandestine were like a rotten carrot, because like they're already out of there before the end of the show.
Yeah, and it kind of, and as this episode ended, I'm kind of left like, okay, we've invested 5 episodes and we have one more episode left. What's going on here?
Okay, do you remember season 2 of Luke Cage and Bushman?
Yeah.
Like, remember, like the way they resolved the Bushman thing was kind of anticlimactic, and then he just kind of left.
Yeah,
he just kind of left and left Luke Cage alone, and then it was just kind of ho hum in the finale, and nothing really happening.
Yeah.
And now, like kind of like the villains they set up are gone, and now it's like, I guess it's Cameron and I don't know, maybe Damage Control, but I'm just kind of uninspired.
Same here. I'm now out of it.
Because I'm not really, because like Damage Control have not even been in this show enough to get me to care about them and get me to dislike them.
Was it 2 episodes that we saw them?
They've been in like a few scenes, basically.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like they were in there a little bit, I guess, in the first one. I think maybe a little bit in the second, and then a little bit in the third. But like, okay, what they were doing to Kamala's home was like mean and all that, but like, and Kamala didn't really she didn't really do anything wrong purposefully.
Yeah.
So,
and my thing, where's the threat?
But like
There's no threat.
okay. So the bad guy with damage control, like the main damage control guy who was in Spider-Man, he's an a-hole, right? He's a total
Mhm,
a-hole. He's a jerk.
mhm.
But he's not like a bad guy. He's just
No.
doing his job.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Mhm,
not, and maybe he's overstepped a little, but has he, like, look, he thought Spider-Man was a murderer.
mhm.
Now, under the circumstances, would you not think Spider-Man was a murderer as well?
Yeah, because there's no evidence to prove otherwise as of at
And
that
like
moment.
he's
So
doing
there you go.
his he's a fed. He's doing his job.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a jerk and maybe he's an asshole, but he's not
Mhm.
like, you know, he's not like trafficking kids. He's not like he's not he's not like selling drugs uh to to poor neighborhoods, you know. He's not killing innocent people. He's not
Yeah.
a bad guy. He's just like a jerk. He's like he's like a fed. He's a suit. He's not like a criminal. He's not a bad guy. There's
Mhm.
not like and even Cameron, all he did was escape. Like it wasn't, he did not want to hurt Kamala. He did
Yeah.
not want to hurt. He's not tried to deliberately hurt or do anything bad, really. All he did was escape from prison, and he wasn't really doing anything wrong, really, other than his mother wanted to go home, back to her home dimension, but he didn't want to hurt anyone in the process. And her mother and her friends only killed themselves. So, I mean, they didn't really kill anyone else other than Aisha,
Mhm.
which again, and not again, Najma is paid for. She's dead. She and by her own doing.
Mhm.
So what are we even doing here?
Exactly.
Um, hmm.
That's
I
why I say,
just,
like,
I mean, like,
if it's like,
where is? Here's my question: Where's
Mhm.
Kevin Feige? Where's Kevin Feige's oversight here?
I really don't know.
Because I feel like I don't know. Like, is Kevin Feige being spread too thin, or is he not? Is he being hands off with these shows? This is what I don't get.
I don't know what's going on. Like it's story. One of my biggest things is everybody know if you see all the after shows, you know my biggest pet peeve is story structure and the way to get from point A to B to C. And when you read enough, you get it.
The structure
Here,
is all over the place. It's not.
exactly. It's like
I don't know what's going on.
when there's always a villain within any story. There's a person that you're a villain or something to overcome or something like that. But now we're at episode 5 and we don't know where in the world is this show going.
Like, who is even the villain at this point?
Yeah, is it Cameron?
I
But like
guess.
he passed the powers to Cameron. It would be different if like it was episode 3 in the middle of this arc, and then I get that part. But this is like one episode in till the finale, and we're getting to this. And chances are it's going to be a 45-50 minute finale.
Like, this is the penultimate episode. Like,
Yes.
this is in the penultimate episode. This is like when the hero is at his or her lowest point,
Mhm.
and like the blank has truly hit the fan, and like they're like everything is going wrong right before they, you know, the hero retaliates and gets their comeback story and saves the day.
Yeah.
This should be the lowest point, but what happens at the Kamala basically inadvertently stops Najma,
Mhm.
stops the veil, or the veil portal is stopped.
Mhm.
Um, resolves her conflict with her mother and her
Mhm.
family. All that's resolved at this point.
Yeah.
Her mother accepts her and knows the truth now, and
Mhm.
her mother and grandmother, like, everyone's happy and getting along. Everything's fine for her at the end.
Yeah.
This is not like, this did not feel like a penultimate episode. It felt
Mhm.
like uh,
Closure.
it almost felt like a finale. Like,
Yeah.
all the conflict, like, there's no conflict with the family anymore. All that's
Mhm.
been resolved.
Yeah.
So I don't. I feel. And I'm not trying to trash this show. Because I feel like if I was like someone trying to trash his show, I would be saying all sorts of dumb garbage and nonsense.
Well, and then like for me, I'm not trying to trash the show either. I was looking forward to this show. I was looking forward to this show more than Moon Knight.
I think we started off okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just think we didn't get enough of the focus on Kamala's origin story and becoming Miss Marvel. And I also don't like how they try to like shove everything into the last episode.
Right.
But then,
and this is where there's something that
I
already
have a
floating
headache.
in my
I
head.
have a headache.
Yeah, there's things that I'm already floating in my head, but I'm gonna save those till next week for the finale. Because if it doesn't, it may come out with what I thought, and I don't think it's gonna change. But I'm gonna save that for the finale next week. But I'm just kind of just like it's like for a perfect example, two different genres, two different styles of storytelling, but like Cobra Kai on Netflix. As I go through the episodes and make sense of how the episodes are transitioning and where they're going in the story.
Okay.
This one, I don't. In all the Marvel series, I don't know where they're going sometimes. Almost like they're
are the creators purposefully trying to obfuscate us?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Because I'm just kind of confused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, if you don't want to do a traditional like hero's journey structure, okay. But I'm just.
To me, it's always like it's
like,
not...
is it good? I mean, even if next week's episode is 60 minutes,
with credits, 60 minutes, or
right.
without credits, 60 minutes.
Let's say 62 minutes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that enough time to set up like Cameron as a threat and make him a decent villain?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's with Bruno now, so maybe he'll threaten Bruno, I guess. Yeah. But like, what does Cameron even want? We haven't spent enough time with Cameron. We've this whole time they've been building up Najma as a villain, and then in the same episode, Najma kills Aisha, and then they unceremoniously kill off Najma. And now Cameron has powers, so I would assume Cameron is going to try and finish his mother's work from some misguided, mother-son loyalty.
And that's the thing. Like, if they would have built a little more around Cameron, maybe I would be more invested.
Like, so far, they made it seem like Cameron was conflicted about like Cameron wants to help his mom, but he doesn't want to hurt people, and he likes Kamala. He actually likes Kamala and doesn't want anything bad to happen to her. And maybe he would even betray his mom to protect Kamala because he feels conflicted about this. That's the way that's what they were setting up. But now they've kind of just tossed all that aside.
Yeah.
So blah is kind of how I feel right now.
Yeah. I don't, and it's the way I felt with Moon Knight. It's the way I felt with WandaVision after episode 4, was it? The shortest episodes that they had?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like to me that every one of these shows...
This would be like, imagine in Thor Ragnarok, if before Valkyrie, Thor, and Hulk get back to Asgard, Hela accidentally kills herself, like tripping over a ledge and falls to her death, and then Fenrir is the final villain.
Right.
Would that have made sense?
No.
Like, remember, Fenrir was the wolf. Hulk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make Fenrir and the Executioner the final villains of Thor Ragnarok. Would that have been as good of a movie?
Yeah.
I don't.
That's why I say, like, out of all these series that we've done watch parties for over the last, what is it now, a year?
Yeah.
The Star Wars ones have been the best.
I would agree.
Perfect.
And at least, not perfect, but at least Kenobi was not perfect, but I feel like Kenobi had a more traditional structure that I could make sense out of, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Even Book of Boba Fett, even with to me, the biggest problem of Book of Boba Fett were the Mandalorian stuff, because I feel it undercut Boba Fett's story, and it felt like they were kind of veering off to just, oh, we need Mandalorian to come in and save the show, and I feel like that was a mistake, and it undercut the series, and it held back Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
but at least they were going somewhere with the Pikes and all that, and
yeah.
What else?
And, and with this series, I feel like, and with the Marvel series, okay, it's a part of a bigger world, and you don't really play to that bigger world, or even at least get some story elements that to be able to involve the characters.
You see, I would ideally want to see more of Kamala's journey. Like, she's a vigilante protecting her neighborhood. Maybe she gets into some fights with some low-level supervillains, mid-level supervillains maybe, and her reputation starts to grow. And to me, by episode 3, she would have already become Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
that's what I like. Like someone would have called. So what do we call you? I'm Miss Marvel, something like that. And I would not have done that at.
I mean, she hasn't even had a costume yet.
She had her prototype.
Really Miss Marvel yet.
She had her prototype last episode.
Yeah, but she's not Miss Marvel. She's still Kamala.
Right. But I would have already established her as Miss Marvel midway through, basically. Whatever you do. And what here's my problem is, I'm not feeling Kevin Feige's guiding hand in these shows.
I agree.
It feels like ever since WandaVision, it feels like everything's been asleep at the wheel. Maybe not Loki, because I think generally what they did for Loki worked. Whatever they were doing, I'm fine with how they did Loki, because it's a show about Loki.
Yeah.
When you're doing a show about Loki, who's an established supervillain, what they did for Loki was fine. But this is a Miss Marvel series. This is the origin and debut of Miss Marvel, and I just feel they did not put their best foot forward. And I feel like I'm not getting a guiding hand, and I'm not getting where is Kevin Feige's influence riding the ship, so to speak. I feel like we're kind of asleep at the wheel here.
Yeah.
And that's what. And I wonder if Feige's attentions are too divided, or if he's doing other stuff and not looking at these shows enough.
I kind of agree with you. I don't know, but I think he's not. I don't think there is a main supervisor over everything on the television side, other than Kevin Feige looking over everything, and he's missing things because some story wise, and that's something that we've seen in the movies from phase 1 through phase 3 that we see story wise always seem to progress. I don't know where this thing is going.
Because if the idea in Hawkeye is Kingpin is the main villain, I would not have done what they did with Kingpin in that show.
Right. Yeah.
I
agree. And this is the same thing. Who we thought is a villain is now not the villain, and you have one episode left. Where is this? I don't know. And I get it that
did they spend all the money? Did they spend all the money on the damage control drones? What's going on?
I don't know. And I get that the audience is supposed to be.
One thing I will say, the damage control drones kind of remind me of Spider Slayers.
Yeah.
Okay, but go ahead.
But I know that the audience that they were trying to target this is probably a younger teenage audience. But even then, it's almost
but like even then they've moved away from a lot of the teenage like high school drama.
But even then, don't dumb it down. I mean, kids are not.
I don't know. To me, the show isn't dumbed down. It's just
it's dumbed down in the way where the stakes. There's really no stakes. There's nothing like. There's nothing to say like how she becomes and how she learns to become.
Well, the biggest stakes are that this veil thing could like destroy the world, but they got rid of it rather easily.
Yeah, and here's the thing too: how is like if this is supposed to play into Miss Marvel?
Okay.
I mean Captain Marvel.
Okay.
The Marvels.
Marvels.
Like, I don't know how this plays into the movie at all, other than the fact that she's in the movie. Whereas with WandaVision, at least I could see where
is Captain Marvel going to come in and like get her off the hook from damage control, maybe, or something, or.
And even then, if that's the case, it's still kind of weak to me. That ending has to make up for something or show us where we're going. But with everything that I've seen so far in these series,
because they're not even calling her the Miss Marvel yet. They're calling her like the Light Girl or something.
Light Bright, Light Sprite, Light
something,
Girl.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like one episode to try and tie up a series is kind of frustrating to me.
It is. I'm a little bit frustrated right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to, and I'm not trying to be mean because
I'll even go into Star Trek and what this series is. It's still better than what Disney has put out so far.
Because I mean, look, Iman Vellani, like this is her big break, you know, and she's good. She is very good.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't want her to I don't want her to be blamed for this show's shortcomings, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't want that to be put on her because she doesn't deserve that.
And once again, just like I said with Moon Knight, I'll say it here with this one. The acting is not the problem.
It's the writing.
It's the writing.
It's the direction.
The writing is the problem.
And I'm not feeling the guiding hand of Kevin Feige anymore.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. I'm just not feeling it. Because I thought that, like, I kind of felt that a little bit at first with WandaVision, but then it kind of, I think we've kind of veered off since then.
Right.
I don't feel like there's a guiding, overriding vision for these shows, and they're just kind of disappointing now.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of just like
Hawkeye went out with a thud for me.
Yeah.
Moon Knight was a dumpster fire for me. Mm-hmm. This show, I think, started off promising, but I think even though last week was like finally gave us some action and some plot development, like this, you're right, the stakes aren't there, and there's not enough with Kamala's journey and development. Like what is it? Like the remember when Amazon redid The Tick for a little bit?
Yeah.
Like there was more going on with the first season of The Tick. Like in the first season of The Tick, we had what was his name? Jackie Earle Haley as the Terror, and he was fantastic. Like, you want to do a superhero origin story, like the first season of The Tick did it pretty well.
Yeah.
And it was fun, and it was postmodern, and Jackie Earle Haley hamming it up as a great villain character. And having fun, and we knew he was the villain from the first episode for the first season, and they did all sorts of interesting, I think, kind of like postmodern superhero stuff, but they still threw in like all the superhero origin story conventions and tropes. They just did it in a more amusing kind of comedic way with Tick and Arthur, kind of thing, and all that was like. I would advise anyone who's watching us right now, Find if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, watch the first season of Amazon's version of The Tick. It was well done.
Mm-hmm.
Now maybe The Tick doesn't have a budget the level of this type of show. Maybe it doesn't. But the writing was infinitely better than this.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Like if you've ever written an essay or written a book or written anything, you look at this and you're just like, structure wise.
Okay, now to be fair, first season of Daredevil, which is like the gold standard for me, Netflix's Daredevil, now on Disney Plus. He doesn't get the costume until the final episode. He's not really called Daredevil until the final episode. Before that, he's called the Man in the Suit.
Yeah.
So there's there's that. But in terms of the conflict, the conflict with Kingpin, Wilson Fisk, the stakes, all that was there and present throughout the first season, kind of thing.
Yeah, and also too with the Daredevil first season, it seemed like they already knew they were making multiple seasons of the show.
They were they were clearly planning ahead and setting up stuff, but some of the stuff they did later wasn't very good. Let's be frank.
It wasn't.
Like now, like the first season of Daredevil, they seeded the hand and all that, and there was some intrigue there with the hand and stick, and that was all well done in the first season. It was just later where the execution failed when Stephen S. DeKnight was no longer around, kind of thing. But the first season was like nigh perfect, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it has to be done where I would have liked to have heard it have been established and set up about midway through, but like in a superhero origin story, like a movie, like like in the first Spider-Man movie, he's like by the first hour, before the end of the first hour, he's already Spider-Man and he's got his costume, you know? We're not waiting to see Spider-Man until the last 15, 20 minutes. Right?
Right.
So that's just kind of what I'm getting at here. Because we need to do the origin, we need to give him a villain to fight, maybe have a couple fights with the villain or some other villains. And we just haven't gotten much of that with Kamala. It's been
see, and that's the thing, like with these
now the designated villain is gone.
Yeah.
Just and Kamala didn't even beat her. Kamala didn't even beat her.
Nope. And that's the thing with these Marvel series, I'm starting to feel like, why am I going to invest in these if this is the way if it continues like this? I'd rather stick with the Star Wars shows, because the Star Wars shows have been to me, they've been a lot better than what they're presenting in the Marvel series, TV series. It's like, am I going to skip She-Hulk and go to Andor? I don't know.
All right. Well, look at Kenobi. Say what you will about Reva or Kenobi, but they brought in Vader by the third episode, and by the third episode, Kenobi was already fighting Vader, right?
Yeah.
And then they built up to that big fight in the final episode. They built it up over multiple. They had a first confrontation that ended badly for Kenobi, and then they built up that final fight at the very end. Right? They did do that.
Exactly.
So, Invader was present throughout the show. He was there basically in 3 through 6.
Right.
So we haven't had anything close to that in this show. And I'm not saying the actor as Cameron is bad, but like they have not done enough with Cameron to set him up as the final boss.
Right.
Kind of thing.
Like maybe it'd be a little, and I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here.
Not to fridge Bruno. Maybe he kills Bruno.
Yeah. And here's the thing.
But I would have had him kill Bruno in like the 4th or 5th episode or something.
And here's my thing. It's like, if it would have been Miss Marvel was already established, maybe it'd be a little different. Maybe. Still have my issues, but maybe it'd be a little different. It'll hit differently. But this is an introduction to a new character that has not been seen on movies or television screens, only in the comic books. And I think they did a poor job
and animation.
No, and animation. And I think the animation does more than what this show has done.
It has.
So it's like, are they expecting you to already know who this person is? Because it's not showing like if you're supposed to know. It's all over the place again. So hopefully next episode clears everything.
I think what these shows are missing is a better story editor.
Yeah,
to
I agree.
Come in, do last minute rewrites and polish everything up and kind of get the bigger picture. I feel like all these shows are missing the bigger picture kind of thing.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. So Marvel, if you're watching this, probably not. Here's two guys that you could hire as writers, and we'll be happy to help in.
At least I will. At least I will script read and I will provide executive level notes.
Exactly.
That is a service I'm willing to offer.
Same here.
And I'm a person who genuinely wants these shows to be great. I'm not anti-Marvel. I'm not like on a Snyderverse thing. This is not about that. I'm not like one of these YouTube grifters. This is just about like you got the building blocks. We need a rewrite and we need to streamline, tighten up, and get a better razor focus on all of our goals here, because I feel like something is missing.
And I agree. And this is the thing. If they don't fix this now, it's going to get out of hand. And this whole thing is going to just be bad. From the movies to the television series. And they need to tighten it up. Get back to where they were, everything was tight, everything was related, everything built into the larger universe, and tighten things up.
Yeah, I just don't know what we're doing right now with this show.
Me neither.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe is there a chance that episode 6 could salvage any of this?
If it was an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe. If it's going to be 45 to 50 minutes as it has been, no.
Because like I think we're in episode 5 now, and I feel like we're still waiting for something big to happen.
Yeah.
And
it's a 6-episode season.
And I guess I was kind of shocked. I was kind of shocked that Najma went out that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Me too.
So is it good that I was shocked? And
I don't know.
All right.
It's only 106. We got some work to do tomorrow.
Oh boy.
Leave your final rating, Jeffrey. What did you think of this episode? Just this episode alone.
Just this episode.
Mm-hmm.
4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. There we go.
Okay. I'll give it a little bit better. 5 out of 10.
Okay.
And that's just because of the story of the great grandmother. That saved this whole episode for me.
Some of that was kind of touching and moving. I'll say that.
Yeah. That's the only reason I would go up to a 5 out of 10. Let's see how next week goes. That's the best thing we could do for now, and see what the finale is and how it does. So, Jeffrey, how can they find you?
Follow me on Twitter at Wheeljack83. Go to 411mania.com. Check out my official exclusive non-spoiler review of Thor: Love and Thunder right now. Also, go to 411mania YouTube. Check out my exclusive interviews and coverage for WWE Money in the Bank. So 411mania on YouTube. check out my interviews with Bianca Belair, Jimmy Hart, Titus O'Neil, and I think next will be Sarah Schreiber, WWE interviewer and broadcaster. So be on the lookout for that. And some more 411 on 411 wrestling, some more Money in the Bank stuff coming soon. I just need to sit down and finish it. It was a long weekend, folks, a long weekend, and I was coming off a quarantine self-isolation and then had to, rough it a little bit. Then had to get some other work done and then ran over to Vegas, and it was a hectic couple weeks for me. So bear with me, please.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. That's where you have it. Where you can find Jeffrey. I'm Mike Sandoval. You can find me here on MUSE TV. Don't forget to watch. We have on Sunday, we did our live stream for Fight Betty Fight, special benefit for Betty Cisneros, who's guitarist for Go Betty Go. We're still raising money for her. She is fighting cancer right now. We're trying to do as much as we possibly can to help support her. And you can check that out on MUSE TV on YouTube. It's going to be going up onto more. It's actually on Twitch right now. Some of it got cut out because of copyright issues, but you could see a lot of the performances on Twitch. It's going to be going up to more platforms later on this week, but you can watch it now on YouTube. And there's still a link if you go to the descriptions to donate and help out with her medical expenses. Well, we have Comic-Con coming up in 2 weeks. There's our little scroll. If you want to help us out and you like this episode, don't forget to super thanks us. Give us a cash app to be able to afford to go down to Comic-Con this year. It's going to be expensive, as you know. We all are going through it. But we want to give you the best coverage we possibly can at Comic-Con. So please, if you can, we would appreciate $1 or anything. We appreciate it. We have some great interviews coming up this week. We have some more from what we did at Republic of Lucha for Midsummer. We have a tag team of Rey Fenix and Penta, El Cero Miedo, and others are going to be coming up, and more interviews coming up within the next week. And also next week, don't forget to make sure you're watching MUSE TV, as we will be at Magic Mountain for a new roller coaster that's opening. I'm sure you've seen the commercials. Wonder Woman Flight of Fury or Flight of Passage. I forget what the full name of it is. But it's a single rail roller coaster, and it's going to be a lot of fun and very interesting. So thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. And don't forget to follow us here on MUSE TV on YouTube and Twitch. And we'll see you next week for the finale of Miss Marvel. So see you then.